Alrighty, so we got one here that's been with us a few weeks now. We just got towed in. The customer is out of the country and his friend was taking care of the car, just storing it really. Anyways, so it's here. As you can see, I'm holding an ECU Masters EMU Black, and that's what it's here for. So we're gonna go ahead and get this plugged in, see if we can get it to start on the EMU. So the ECU that's in it is a MS PNP 1. So it's a really old ECU, and they're not bad. You know, if you're looking for a very basic setup, they're pretty cool, and they'll do the trick. So definitely good stuff from way back when, though. Okay, so I got cranking RPM, and now I've got to make some changes to my base map. So the good news is, like I said, we got cranking RPM, so that's a start. As you can see, the igniter's unplugged, and we've got to do a couple other things here to get it to actually fire up. But I wanted to get the trigger settings done. So now I'm going to go in and modify my base map for my ins and outs and injector size and some of those other things, and if we get lucky, we'll get something out of this. Now the car's been sitting for 2 years, and I don't know how much fuel it is in it, and I don't know how bad the fuel is. The customer said that, you know, everything was all fresh again 2 years ago, but we'll see if we can get this thing to breathe some life into it just to get it started. So the biggest reason why I would not start earlier, after playing around with it for a while, I went back and looked at it and I realized that the coils weren't grounded. So if you see that little alligator clip, that actually goes to my power probe to give us constant ground. And so when I did that, the car tried to sputter, and it obviously wouldn't start because I was playing around with so many different settings to get it to fire. But once I did that and cleaned up the map a little bit more, or played with the map a little bit more, it as you can see, it fired right up. All right, so after a couple changes, we finally got this thing to fire up. So it runs, definitely does not run well, no surprise there, but it does run. So the fuel, you can smell it right now, it smells pretty bad. So like putting like normal V numbers won't get it to start. That's just because the fuel is degraded so poorly that I've actually just gotta run it super duper rich, but it runs and it starts. So that's definitely a good sign there. All right, so what we're going to do is we are simply just going to set up R8 coils like we did on the ITB Turbo Miata. So we're going to, he supposedly had a coil unplug kit, but he doesn't know what happened to it. So not a big deal there. We're just gonna go ahead and get rid of all this here and just go straight to R8 coils. And I will start doing the wiring for that and try to make it as plug and play as possible. So we're gonna retain this connector here. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and retain this connector here and get rid of this whole thing here. So in the meantime, as we're waiting for the coil connectors to show up, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some other things here. Most notably, we're going to wire up the MAF connector. So what I do on my plug and play adapters is I repurpose the MAF connector to run all sorts of stuff. So the fuel pump wiring runs through here now. The IAT obviously runs through here, and the electronic boost control solenoid runs through there. Now the only thing that I don't feed through there for the electronic boost control solenoid is actually power. So there's not a way of getting power into it so easily. So we've got to run a power wire from elsewhere to over there. There's a couple places we can do that as well, so not a big deal, just some other wiring to do. All right, so on this car, two particular things are happening. One, the switch number 2, which is actually supposed to be the clutch pedal, is not working. I've tried a couple different settings and it's not doing anything, it's just staying on. So I can press it all the way down and it just stays active. The second thing is the fan is not working, so I can click over here and the fan does not run. So his AC stuff is deleted out there, so there is a possibility that that's the reason why it's not working. So I'm going to look into it. All right, so we are jumping the 2 pins here. So if you look, basically this green and this red wire. We just tap them together and then that gets fuel pump working. It's hard to explain. Normally plug and play adapters don't have to do this, but the way Mazda handled it on this car specifically is kind of goofy. And so it's just far easier to run it this way. So basically what happens is from this car from the factory, the MAF has to physically move to actually activate the fuel pump wiring. So there's not like an easy way of doing that to replicate it. On a lot of the plug and play ECUs though, they have a circuit that's built in to mimic that, but unfortunately for us, we have to kind of make our own. So a little bit of wiring here and there, but I think the pros are worth it. So the next step is now we're going to tap the IAT wiring. So the IAT wiring, yeah, here we go. So this is like some homemade IAT wiring, and that's going to go into this connector. And same deal, I'm going to cut this connector here and then we'll wire it. And just like any other IAT sensor, there's no polarity behind it, so you can wire either end. It doesn't matter which is which. And like I said, same deal, we're just going to cut the wires, run those in there, and then the very last one will be the single output wire for the boost control solenoid. So now that the fuel pump's done, these are the two wires that we're after for the IAT. So if you're looking at it from the front side, it's the third from the right and the very last pin. So it's these two here, which on this car is black green and red green. And again, polarity doesn't matter, so we're just going to tap them directly into the IAT and then get that situated. So now that the IAT is done, this is the very last wire that's needed for the boost control solenoid. And then these other two, one is a ground wire and the other goes to pin 2D. So maybe in the future I'll repurpose this for an input wire, but currently that's just not something that we're doing at the moment. But it is a free open spot on the ECU, so I could easily wire that in. And if enough people request it, then I guess I can do it that way. Alrighty, so we are going to handle a couple things today. First and foremost, we're going to do a universal fan on this. There's just not a lot of room here. You can already see that the charge pipe is kind of collapsed already. I don't really like how they did this idle control valve here. The good thing is that we're going drive-by-wire, so we're not going to need this, but this is, I don't know how well that's going to seal. So we've got a universal fan here that the end just came out on, but we're gonna go ahead and install that. We're gonna wire that up to the factory wiring, which it's got labeled somewhere. Here we go. So we've got the factory fan wiring here. I've got to figure out which wire is what for that, and then we'll have a fan. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the fan wiring stuff here. We'll go ahead and start taking all this stuff apart. We're gonna leave all the charge piping out, just again because we're not going to use it. The next thing that I've got to do though is I've got to figure out where I can run some wire through, and the reason why we need to do that is because he's got a couple of sensors that need to go in. Alright, so this is the Michimoto fan that we're going to use. This is some new old stock that we have, so it's been sitting around for a while, and I'm gonna go ahead and test it. So what I ended up doing was I jammed the connector in on this side. Actually, I'll fix that here in a second. But let me get this all set up so we can test it, make sure that this fan works before we try to sell it to a customer. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this T connector off and put a new one on, just because this one's busted, and then we'll add another T connector on the factory side so he can plug in and unplug fans as needed. And just like that, it's fixed. Got a good crimp on it. Go ahead and slide this side in, and then we'll go ahead and mount this fan, and then that way we can figure out the factory wiring side of it. Alright, so the plug's changed over to the aftermarket style fans, so that's good there. We're gonna go ahead and key on the car. Obviously you can't start it because the throttle body's off, and we'll get to that in a second. But I can now, at this point, trigger on the fans to make sure that they both work. Okay, we got both fans running. They had it grounded, the fan switch on the 90s. They had it grounded to keep the fan running, which is not ideal. So on this car though, we had to do something a little bit differently. So this car doesn't have AC. So what I basically had to do was I switched over the AC wiring to the cooling fan. So when it reaches a certain temp, it activates the AC and both fans turn on. So on the plug and play, it's wired a little bit differently, where AC is actually on its own output, because when you activate AC, it turns on both fans, right? There's like a bypass and it sends both signals to both relays to fire them off. But if you have the fan wired separately on its own, then it would only turn on the main AC fan. So doing it this way, because the car does not have an AC compressor, this will turn on both fans when it reaches 85 Celsius.